started, I think November of 2018. I always felt like I thought things, and then I would never write them down. It would just kind of be like, oh, that's an interesting thought. In high school, I feel like poetry in high school is really like people always hate poetry in high school because they're like, I don't get it, it doesn't make sense. And so I didn't really hate poetry in high school, but I kind of knew that mindset of high schoolers. And then I took freshman year, first semester, I took an intro to poetry class, study poetry class, with Anya Silver, who she's a poet and everything like that. She's a wonderful poet. And I just fell in love with poetry, and never thought I would, because a lot of it can be hard and complex and hard to understand, and so sometimes it's frustrating. And she was like, you need to do something in English. You need to write or do something, because you just write too well to not do that, I guess. Kind of at the time I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then I ended up with an English minor, so you're welcome, Dr. Silver. But I think too, reading her poetry and just reading so much poetry really inspired me to kind of take the thoughts that I had and develop them further and write them down and actually put thought into them. But I think a lot of it's my experience, or just people in my life too. There's a quote I saw on Pinterest, and it was if you think I'm writing about you, I am. So this is a poem that came to me when I was at home, and it actually just started out me all of a sudden popped into my head, "Weep out your world to me," and I was like, ooh, I really like the sound of that. And I was like, well, what does my world look like? And so it kind of, and at this point in my life, I was thinking a lot about my childhood. So it kind of goes through, kind of very briefly, my life, I guess. Weep out your world to me, teardrops of childhood coating your lash line, balloons tied to mailboxes, a baseball to the nose, more make-believe than reality. Streams down your cheeks of remote teenage years, some boys and bitterness, a bathtub that was too small. More reality than make-believe. The salt in your mouth, the taste of 20s, a boxing ring with the creator, bruised lips in sunlight, all reality, all make-believe.